Every day our lives are...
Politics is the art of controlling your environment. Hunter S. Thompson. The sad duty of politics is to establish justice in a sinful world. And with that quote from Rayhan Neighbor, I welcome you to Atn Politics. Atn Politics is Atlantic Television Network's flagship program that discusses core political trends with relevant political stakeholders. And today on Atn Politics, we will be discussing core issues from different political landscapes, such as in Bayelsa State, IYC urges Lokpobiri to set aside his ambition. And in Edo State, Oshomole under fire for Obaseki childless comment. And moving up to Kano State, Barau welcomes NNPP defectors into APC. And Atiku slams Badaru for calling Tinubu daddy. Before I call on our guests today, we'll take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll head straight to business. Please stay tuned.
Changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today. Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
It's a pleasure to welcome you back to ATN Politics on Atlantic Television Network right here in Port Harcourt. I am your host, Raymond Ken Bata, and my guest today is a broadcast journalist as well as a socio-political analyst in the person of Kingsley C. Izejobi. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
The pleasure is mine.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. All
right, without taking any much of your time, let's go to the first story for discussion. The Ijaw Youth's Council has urged the Minister of Petroleum, Senator Heineken Lokpobiri, to set aside his governorship ambitions in Bayelsa State and concentrate on fulfilling his responsibilities as a minister. According to the council, Lokpobiri should focus more on effective managing of the crucial petroleum sector instead of what it called political aspirations. In a statement signed by IYC Secretary General Maboye Nengi Obu and 3 other members, the council stated that Lokpobiri's actions have been overly influenced by his desire to be governor. This, they argued, has led to a lack of focus and an inability to address pressing issues within the oil subsector. Sir, is there anything wrong with a minister having ambitions of being the governor of his state insofar as the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria is concerned, sir?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
let me start by saying that I want to commend the IYC for this kind of advice. You know, those in political offices in Nigeria often don't have the opportunity of getting this type of advice. Why? Because everybody around them will be singing their praises. There is sycophancy everywhere. So the truth most times are not made known to the political leaders. But the truth remains that if Heineken Lokpobiri is going to achieve his aim, or the reason for his appointment as Minister of State Petroleum, there is every need for him to remain focused on the job he has, one thing at a time. It is not a fallacy. Human beings are wired to most times do one thing at a time. focus on one thing until you achieve result. There are a lot of issues and leave an indelible mark in that sector. So that by the time he comes out, he can look back and say, oh, when I was a minister, I did this, I did this, I did. Therefore, if you make me the governor of the state, I will do this. But as we are talking today, the Minister of State Petroleum cannot book. I have not seen anything that will say, okay, this is what is remarkable that he has been able to achieve that will make him want to aspire to become governor of Bayelsa State. There is no doubt to the fact that every Nigerian who is qualified, according to the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, can vie to occupy any political office in the land. But I think that we should get to that point where political office holders, especially the appointed political office holders, will have to decide whether they want to be loyal to the Nigerian people under whose president they are serving as that should not be heard of. So I think that at this point, even the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should at this point in time read the Riot Act to the ministers. See, guys, I'm not saying I should not aspire, but if you're aspiring for anything in your state, please just put in your resignation and go and focus on your aspiration. If that you are going to serve this country better, fine and good, no problem. But you can't combine two political offices. And at the end of the day, the people who are working in the people who are making use of the major stakeholders in the oil and gas sector will suffer because the minister is not effective, he's never there, his attention is divided. And then your people whom you are aspiring to govern as a governor will also be feeling that, oh, this man is always going to Abuja, he's not always around, he's dealing with us through third-party person, doing those things like that. So I think that the minister should just remain focused, achieve substantial.
There are countries where the head of state is also the head of foreign affairs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm talking about minister. I'm talking about Minister of Petroleum in Nigeria. I said for all the oil producing countries of the world, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Libya, Egypt, and co. I am yet to see a president in any of these countries who is at the same time the Minister of Petroleum in that same country. So meaning that the presidents that we have had in the past, the two last presidents that we have had, President Muhammadu Buhari and the current president, have something in mind that they don't want Nigerians to know. That's why they are fixating on being the Minister of Petroleum. And they're running the ministry left with going to do, the other day, for instance, went somewhere to say, want to go and inspect one thing. All they are doing is just to do inspection. And I don't think that we should be wasting our money on people whose job you just need to go and do inspection. Rather, we should invest our money on people who are giving us value for money. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So if we have a system that is functional, that is functioning very well, I think that the president of Nigeria should not be the Minister of Petroleum. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, because now on the second part, even if the minister is working on a part-time basis, even if you want to remain as a minister and at the same time you are nursing the ambition to become the next governor of Bayelsa State. If you want to do that, because becoming a governor of a state means that you have to do wide consultation. You have to travel all the local government areas, you have to go to all the communities, you have to meet all the chiefs and the women groups and things like that. It is not something that you can do and still have another job that you will do effectively. The only way you can do that and do it effectively is if you are a private business operator, somebody who is successful in business, who has set up a business structure that can run on its own.
So we're in Nigeria here. We do know that, including, there are no politicians that can't create time for politicking.
See, that's why we're where we are now. The reason why things are not working in Nigeria is because people are not held accountable for misbehaving. If you are working in Atlantic Television Network now, as a full-fledged staff of Atlantic Television Network, you can't possibly work for AIT or any other sister station. You can't possibly do that. Why? Because your attention will be divided. So the problem is that when your attention is divided, the people will suffer because you're not going to give them the best. You're not going to give your best.
What if I was a part-time staff?
Even if you are a part-time staff, it depends on what your job your job
description. What if I was a contractor?
Even if it depends on what your job description says. If your job description says your program goes on air 3 times a week, and before that 3 times you have to do some kind of research and everything, will you abandon your research work to go and begin to politic?
Well, we know that. Do that. We know that the way elections and politicking and electioneering runs in Nigeria, it doesn't start like, as in when it's going to be declared open totally. for full-time politicking and campaigning like 2026. But we do know that politics in Nigeria takes a lot of time for the grind to
see what you are saying is like what you are saying now is like an ailment. You only go to hospital when you begin to see the outward sign of your ailment. That's when you go to hospital. For instance, somebody who has an internal sickness, for instance, let's say the liver issue or kidney issue, you wouldn't know that you may have, if you are not very conscious, you will not know that you have this honors of their state. We have to go back to their state and do the politicking. And I'm saying that doing that politicking and combining it with a national appointment will not be conducive for either the nation or the people that you want to rule. So I am saying that we should have a system where anybody at any point in time is free to aspire to any other political office. But when you want to do that, you will need to excuse us from this office that you're occupying to focus on this one, this your ambition, to focus on this. As you are now, if you get anything that, if you even as a staff of this place, if you have anything that is driving you so much, you know, that you want to have, you have drive fulfillment in, you won't sit down here and be anchoring a program. You will have to want to resign to focus on that thing, which is your, and that is for your, at your own personal level. But at a general level, you don't have to use our time to go and do politicking when you have not given us the best. The people of Bayelsa, as a matter of fact, Heineken Lokbobiri, as well as any other minister in Nigeria, is utilizing a slot of that particular state. So to some extent, he's also a representative of that state in the federal government. So that means there is a responsibility, there is an expectation that as a minister, even as a junior minister, you should bring some kind of value back to the state. That's what is expected of you. So if you now say you want to abandon it and then
he has not abandoned his portfolio.
But I'm saying that. And the reason why Ijaw Youth Council is giving
a governor sometimes can still, without resigning his position, even with the power of incumbency, still prosecute the coming election for a second tenure.
That is
and
why,
it's not looked down upon.
That is why Nigeria is not working well. In fact, if I happen to be the president of this country, it will become a criminal offense for anybody within the first 2 years, 3 years of any administration to talk about the next administration.
Wow.
We are in 2024 today. The next election is coming in 2027. And we have already started hearing that some people have started permutation on Hope Uzodinma and Omar Ganduje. We have started hearing different things. And I'm saying that if I'm in charge of the security apparatus of this country, anybody who posts such on the internet, I will get the person arrested. Because what the person is trying to do is to distract us. That's what the person is trying to do.
But is it unconstitutional?
That what?
Is it unconstitutional?
See, let us forget about whether it's constitutional or not. The constitution does not have to spell it out that, see, it cannot aspire. But the point remains that aspiration of average Nigerian politician causes distraction and suffering to the people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
If Governor Similayo Fubara of Rivers State, for instance, begins to aspire for 2027, what he will be doing will be trying to serve the interests of those who will make that his ambition become a reality. That's what he will do. So you and I who live in River State, we have to suffer insecurity, we have to suffer bad road, we have to suffer power outage. Every social amenity will crumble because the governor is trying to secure his second term. So if you have a system that makes it difficult, criminalizes people making public declaration when it is not yet time, then I think we will have some kind of sanity. So that's what I mean by when I said Heineken Lokbobiri should adhere to the instruction of the advice of the Ijaw Youth Council and focus as a minister. If you feel that you are good enough to become the governor of Bayelsa State and you are confident enough, put in your resignation letter and go all out for it. There's no point being neither here nor there.
Okay, sir. Good enough. Okay, let's take the stage down to Edo State, where the governor of Edo State, Senator Adams Oshomole, has faced backlash over his statement that Betsy Obaseki, the wife of the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, has no child. The controversy erupted following a campaign event in Obiaja, where the People's Democratic Party launched its governorship campaign for Isha and Southeast local government area. And during the event, Betsy Obaseki highlighted the family aspect of the PDP candidate Asue Igodalo, introducing Igodalo's wife Ifeyinwa, and she urged women to support Igodalo, adding that he was the only candidate in the September 21st election with a wife, suggesting that this reflected better on women's empowerment. Responding, however, in an interview, Oshomole accused Betsy Obaseki of making a false claim that all Progressive Congress candidates, Monday Webolo, had no wife. He then controversially remarked that the Obasekis, who are in their 60s, are childless and have not adopted any children. Sir, this is concerning campaigns. I don't think that these constitute what a campaign should be. So if you could, in your capacity, to remind us what constitutes a campaign, sir.
Well, I think that, you know, these things happen in this country because Nigerians are not enlightened enough.
Exactly.
We are not.
That's why I want us to use this stage to enlighten them.
I've said that
let's enlighten
it is
them.
only when it comes to selection of political leaders that Nigerians all of a sudden become stupid people, we become senseless people, we become people who are mentally deranged, sorry to use that word, because we begin to hear all kinds of jargons and unprintable names, and at the end of the day, the person will still walk into that political office. In a sane environment, we shouldn't turn a campaign ground into a ground for character assassination and taunting people who have not been favored by God. If we say we are Christians, or if we say we are people who are religious people, you know, the issue of childbearing is people can be very healthy, medically fit, but have not been able to conceive. So it's not a, and then there are people who have just one chance and then they have it. And as a matter of fact, there is no law that says that a governor must be married. Neither is there any law that says that a governor must have all the children in the world. But just because the people who are running the campaigns have nothing to campaign on, they don't have any issue, they are not running issue-based campaign. That is why this type of
could that be a result of the bitterness that is existing in between the APC and the PDP in Edo State?
Whether it is as a result of the bitterness or not, I'm saying that it is because our people don't know what to look out for when it comes to leadership selection.
Enlighten us the anatomy of a campaign.
A campaign is where you sell your manifesto to the people. Your manifesto should be clear, it should be clear, it should be understood, it should be measurable, and things like that. You should be able to tell people there should be timeline on the promises you are making. You should be able to tell the people from month 1 to month 2, this will happen, that will happen, and if this don't happen, this will not happen. There should be data analysis of what you intend to do for the people. You should be able to let the people know what their problem is, how they got to the problem, and how they will be able to exit that problem. And when they exit this problem, what are the likely challenges they are going to have as if you exit the stage 1 of the challenges of the state. When you enter stage 2, what are the likely challenges you are going to have, and how are you going to solve the problem, and things like that. That is what anybody who wants to aspire to any office should be telling the people. So when you now come, because you don't even have an idea of what the problem of the state is, you don't even have an idea of how you are going to solve the problem, you don't even have an idea of where you are going and where you are coming from, you resort to telling people, saying oh, look at his head is very big, oh, look at his hand is short, this and that, as if leadership governance depends on somebody who have 2 wives or somebody who have 3 wives, as if you have all the wives in the world, you'll be able to function well, as if you don't have a child in the world, it means that your brain is not working. I mean, it's because we don't have any other thing to talk about. That's why we are. And I feel disappointed that somebody like Adams Oshomole will condescend that low to join issues with a talk that is not supposed to be. In fact, a man who does not have a child can even be bold enough to tell a man who is not married that he's not the responsible man. Why? Because marriage in our own in our culture is a sign of responsibility. It is a man who wants to be responsible that takes a wife. any man who does not take a wife at certain age in our society is considered as an irresponsible person. So by extension, Bates Obaseki is saying that Edo people should not hand over the state to a man who is not responsible.
But do you think that because of the lack of, should I call it, ideology in our party systems, that is why we are denigrating ourselves up to this point?
You know the issue of ideology.
And also, what can we do to institute ideology? Should it get to the National Assembly that they should mandate all parties to have an existing ideology?
You see, the issue of party ideology, as far as Nigerian politicians are concerned, is dead and buried long time ago.
And never to be resurrected?
Nobody talks about. No, there is no political party in Nigeria that is ideological in nature. All the political parties in Nigeria are one and the same. In fact, let me tell you, if the PDP had won the election in Nigeria, 2023 election, the same thing that APC is doing now is what PDP would have done. The reason is that these are guys who have survived on public funds. So the reason why we can't talk about ideology, the only ideology in Nigerian politics is money.
How do we get back ideology?
The only way we can get back our political parties to ideology, what would have happened is, had it been that those who played some roles in the 2023 election were able to maybe sustain the argument of Labour Party, to say, oh, Labour Party from the XYZ won the election, or because of the argument of XYZ that Labour Party is making, the election stands cancelled, let us do it again. And this time around, if you are doing it, this must happen, this must happen, this must happen. And Nigerians, please, everybody come out and please vote for someone who is going to make this country better. Look at what we are looking for in Nigeria. There is not even wrong in INEC setting parameters for political, those who are vying for political office, to say if you are going to have your campaign must address this, must address this, must address this. And Nigerians, if anybody who is not addressing this, and this, you Nigerian, you should not vote for him.
Does it alarm you that INEC has not even approached that topic before?
That's what I'm saying. That's why people can go on stage on the campaign and be saying that somebody is not giving birth or somebody is not married. Because if INEC has told you that, see, if you are going to be governor of Edo State has there's no federal road in Edo State that is very, very terrible. Edo State is one of the states in this country that has the worst network of federal roads in this country. It does not, in fact, the last time I visited the Benin, Edo State, I saw a billboard mounted there by Edo State government under this same Obaseki, saying that please Nigerians should bear with them, that this road is a federal road. Is that the kind of person that we should be dealing with? It is simply because we have a system that doesn't encourage dignity, that doesn't encourage sincerity, that doesn't encourage commitment of people that doesn't demand accountability from people who are in public offices. That if we have a system like that, then you know that when you have a campaign, and then use your campaign office to go and say that somebody married 20 wives, you know that you are losing vote. Look at what happened in the US. Joe Biden and Donald Trump had a debate. Just because Joe Biden did not perform very well that day, the whole country, the whole supporters of the started saying that no. If this man goes into the election with this type of performance, he will be defeated. Therefore, let us change him. Even though the man was insisting that he's going to, but at the point he noticed that, see, my party is saying that I cannot do well, so let me step aside, let me support another person. That kind of thing does not happen in Nigeria. And it does not happen because politicians don't believe that they get into political offices through the vote of the people. They believe that they buy their way into the. That's why we have in a country, we're in a country where somebody doesn't come for a debate, and yet he emerges a president of Nigeria. In US, that debate that Donald Trump had with Joe Biden, it's not even the final stage of the presidential debate. Exactly. It's not even because when the parties nominate their candidates, just like they have done, they will still come back again. They did that debate as aspirants. Now, when they become the candidate, they will still have another round of debate. Okay. Yes, sir. So just because of being an aspirant, you perform badly in your presidential debate, your party say no, you cannot. Americans are saying, no, this man does not know anything that he wants to do. Therefore, let us change him, and they change him.
Sir, in your career as a broadcast journalist, what can you say about the inability of Nigeria to institute debates as such, so that we test the capacity and capabilities of people vying for public offices. And why hasn't it been able to be sustained, sir?
Politicians in Nigeria since 1999 to date. In fact, all those who have occupied political offices in Nigeria since independence till today,
yes, sir,
what they have achieved, as far as I'm concerned, is that they have achieved underdevelopment, under-education, if there's any word like that. Politicians and political leaders in Nigeria have succeeded in creating about 200 million people who are not educated when it comes to selection of their political leaders. If Nigerians will understand the importance of selecting a governor or a president, politicians will sit up. Because you see Nigerians during election, by the way, when you say we want to elect the president of Nigeria, what we are saying in essence is that we want to elect the person who will decide how we eat, how we dress, when we go out, whether we are going to go to church, whether we are going to worship God, whatever we want to do, we are electing the person that will decide how those things will be done.
Exactly.
And then you are telling me that it doesn't concern you, anything they like they should do. That is the mentality that Nigerian politicians have succeeded in engraving in the memory of Nigerians.
Oh, so the people do not make such demands of their representatives?
No.
Okay.
The people lack the capacity to make demands.
In what way, sir?
Because the people are weak. The people are weak. So when it is time for election, what the people are interested, what the people will say, okay, for instance, in our office the other time, we had an argument with somebody, and the person was excited that the River State governor, the immediate past River State governor, when he was about to leave, gave out 20,000 naira to some youth, about 20,000 youth for 3 months, and he was excited. And I was angry with him, and why was I angry? I was angry with him because you can't tell me that for 8 years that this man was in the office, he's only giving you 20,000 naira for 3 months. That is what is exciting about the whole thing. So I think that if Nigerians are properly educated, Nigerians will know that just like when you want to employ an accountant in your office, you look for an ICANN certified. You want to employ engineer in your office, you look for current certified.
Exactly.
You want to employ an SA media, you look for a call journalist. Until when Nigerians come to that point where if you want to employ president of Nigeria, you look for somebody who have managed people, managed resources, and have achieved tremendous results in turning hopeless situation into a very viable situation. If Nigerians are able to do that, that is when politicians will go to campaign ground and talk about issues. But so long as Nigerians are still docile to the fact that when it is time for election, they'll come and share money, they'll come and share rice, they'll come and share this, and at the end of the day, carry go. Politicians will never be serious. In fact, Nigerian politicians are misbehaving today because Nigerians are not serious about who become either governor or president.
Okay, sir. Extensively. I believe that there are salient themes for us to also expand there, but for want of time, I want to pause here for today concerning this topic. But I believe that by the next time we see, there are other issues and questions that, because I believe that we are not also here only just to propound our own propositions,
sure,
but also to also educate
yeah.
Yes, and enlighten the people, sir. And I thank you for that, sir. All right, let's go to the next story. Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau I. Jibrin, yesterday officially welcomed key figures from the new Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, to the APC, the All Progressive Congress. The reception took place on Sunday at his Abuja residence, as confirmed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ismail Mudashiru. Senator Barau welcomed the new members, assuring them of equal opportunities within the APC and reaffirmed the party's dedication to addressing national challenges. He urged support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's efforts to advance the country's progress and prosperity. In a related development, Senator Barau also received Gogori, the former Bagwai local government area chairman, along with his councillors and other NNPP chieftains from the area. Gogori called on met promises by NNPP leaders as the reason for their departure. Senator Barrow expressed his gratitude for their return, declaring that APC is your home. You left and now you are back to your rightful place. The APC, the largest political party in Africa. Welcome back. Inshallah, you won't regret this action. Sir, we are in a situation where the NNPP, the New Nigeria People's Party, the Red Cap chieftains, the Kwakwansia of Kano State, the new political juggernauts of the northern section of Nigeria. I remember when last I went to Kano State, I mean, it was a sea of red caps. Even in the parks, even in the markets, everywhere you go, even with the keke people, I see everybody with red caps. But we are seeing that even a citizen of Kano State, in the person of the Deputy Senate President, Jibrin Barau, is able to get not just a few politicians there from the party of the NNPP, but I mean a local government chairman and his councillors in full.
Well, you see, it boils down to what you said before.
Yes, sir.
Nigerian political parties have no ideology, so we only focus on where there is bread. If the bread moves from AMPP to NPP or whatever party, that is where we go to. We are not interested in whether the government is doing well or not. All right? So when you say, oh, key stakeholders, to start with, who are the key stakeholders? What is the parameter for measuring key stakeholders in those who have affected? A local government chairman, former local government chairman, so to say, in this country, does not command the kind of clout that you may say, oh, it will affect the NNPP. But that's on one side. The other side is that, like I said, there is no ideology. If there is ideology, what has shifted from NNPP in terms of ideology that will now make people from NNPP to move from NNPP to APC? Why would somebody who is complaining that there is hardship in the country, there is insecurity in the land, there is inflation everywhere, the farmers can no longer go to farm, the government policies are stifling life out of the people, and yet somebody is waking up one morning and say, I want to move from my political party to that political party that is in charge of a government that is not favoring the people. It shows you that people just do things because probably they are paid to do it. It's not because the APC have done so much. Omar Ganduje, the former governor of Kano State, was there for 8 years. What was he able to achieve? Balkanization of the Emirates that is causing problems all over the place. So if there is tangible results, did the Art of School Children syndrome in Kano State, did it improve under Omar Ganduje? The answer is no. Did the maternal and child mortality rate in Kano State, did it improve? The answer is no. So if you are moving from NPP to APC, what is your motivation? You are making that move because you have no ideology. It's as simple as that. So if those who are moving from one political party to the other are moving because this party has failed to deliver power to the people, this party has failed to deliver education to the people, this government has failed to deliver food to the people, because these are the things that they promise. Just like the federal government promised renewed hope. If you feel that there has not been any kind of renewed hope in Nigeria, and yet you are moving from PDP to APC, it's simply because you don't have any ideology. Because if you have ideology, you will follow what was said during the campaign and see how far it was implemented. If it is well implemented, even when you are in another party, if there are hopes being delivered to Nigeria, being renewed for Nigerians, even when you are in another party, you'll be attracted. If there are projects being delivered, not white collar projects, project that touches the heart and the minds of ordinary Nigerians, and you are saying because of that, that's why they are moving. That's fine and good. But this time around, people are moving for just because they were paid to move. As far as I'm concerned, these people that have moved from NNPP to APC are just jobbers who are looking for what to eat. And it is, in fact, it is another dimension of the hunger that is currently ravaging Nigerians.
Oh, you see, I want to pinpoint some findings per se. Being that Omar Ganduje He's fighting politically for his head politically to be relevant. And presently, he still has a running battle with the present governor of the state, being Yusuf. And also, in that move, he is working with the Deputy Senate President to get as many members. Not even from, he's not much concerned about the YPP. He's not concerned about who comes from the PDP. He is concerned more of members that come from the NNPP. Will he be capable of whittling down the influence that the Kwankwasia and the NNPP has over Kano State over time?
See, you see this issue of Kwankwasia or whatever you may call it.
Yes,
it's
sir.
like when you come to the university, you have something like they say it's a simplified movement.
Exactly, sir.
You know, these are just political contractors.
Okay.
These people are not, they're not adding any value to society. They are just political. These are just it's like the password. If you just put the password Kwankwasia as a password, you get access into the Kano State government, and then you begin to scoop from the purse of the government. Just like in this state, if you just shout simplified, shout from Boba to Rumukuta, you will get access to River State government treasury, and then you begin to scoop from there. It's not like Kwankwasia will do anything, or those who have moved from Kwankwasia to, they are not going to add any value. They are not going to, because they are not, the reason for movement is not because they want to carry, what are they bringing on board? You are not bringing any value. You are just doing a kadede, and then you are saying you are decamping. If you like, decamp from now till tomorrow. What they are looking for is what they are going to eat, and that is why even that place they are going to, they will not take you serious. So when you say people, why are people not decamping in US? Why are we not seeing a huge number of Democrats decamping to the Republicans? Even when Joe Biden performed badly in the presidential debate, the people did not decamp. Rather, they told him to resign. So if you feel that you are in Kano State and your party is not doing well, is the campaign from your party to another party the best way out? Why don't you call your governor to order, since you are a member of the party? That is simply, they can't do that because they are not adding any value. So until political jobbers are eliminated and only those who are adding value to the political system are accommodated, this issue of when there is election, we are decamping from party A to party B, from party B to party C. The party you are decamping from and the one you are entering into, is there any marked difference? The answer is no. So they should just say, Barrow should not be so excited that he has a local government chairman. That local government chairman can bet.
And Shehu took to social media to mock the minister, saying that Badaru greeted Bat by saying, "Welcome, Daddy," in a display of sycophancy. And Badaru is a key ally of Tinubu, who amongst the Nigerian public office holders accompanied the president on his trip to China. We are very used to the genuflecting and also respect for elders, and in our informal section of the country. And I know that it's not very strange in an informal section to be able to see someone at the age of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to call him daddy. But maybe perhaps this riled up some feathers because it was on an official function. But is it still in a distasteful mood that the Atiku camp had to reply to it, or for want of publicity that these statements were made?
Well, I think that I agree with Atiku's media aide, Abdurrashid, that Badaru was just being sycophantic, and that is what it is. That is what it is. To start with, the law says that every state in Nigeria must have a minister.
Yeah.
So the fact that the president appointed you as a minister into the federal cabinet, the president is not doing you a favor as a person. The president is doing what the constitution says he should do.
Even as a key ally, a kitchen cabinet.
What do you
Defense
mean
minister.
What do you mean by kitchen cabinet? What do you mean by what does Badaru have to make him warrant to become the operator office of the defense minister? What type of military background does he have? What type of security exposure does he have?
He's close to the pot that has more meat.
So Nigerians that is ruling. If he provides you with education, provides you with security, provides you with shelter, provides you with social amenities, he doesn't have any fatherly responsibility. Instead, he will tell you, if you become a criminal, the law is there to treat you. It's not like a father who will begin to cry that my son want to go back. So the father becomes worried because he knows that if the son becomes bad, at the end of the day, he's the one that will suffer it. If you become a bad person in Nigeria today, it will not affect Tinubu in any way. So if anybody, any political office holder or any political appointee goes in the public to display a psychophancy and be calling president daddy, the person is simply playing to the gallery, as far as I'm concerned. And it does not also mean that if the powers that be move against this battery, there is nothing wrong in saying there is nothing wrong in disagreeing with the president. We saw it happen in U.S. Position attacked and convicted for illegally handling firearms. Will such a thing happen in Nigeria?
Why can't such a thing happen in Nigeria?
That's what I'm saying. That such a thing cannot happen in Nigeria because Nigerians who will cause it to happen are weak.
This weakness, how can we define this weakness?
The weakness I'm saying is that
yes,
we don't have the capacity to reason beyond politics, ethnicity, and religion when it comes to selection of our political leaders.
That's a replica of the Hunger Games.
Yes.
Is it an aspect of hunger? Is it an aspect of,
I'm coming.
Of lack?
Politicians, when they want to achieve their aim, their selfish aims, they will play the political card, they will play the religious card, they will play the ethnic card. The Labour Party presidential candidate in Nigeria was demarcated outside the southeast and in some part of south and then up north because he's an Igbo. The Labour Party presidential candidate got 95% in Anambra State. Go and check.
Including the southeast.
In that, there is no way any other person would have won anything in the southeast. It's not possible. It's not even. So that is not our discussion. Instead of him to continue to shout that you have not given enough, he want to lick that one and he rub on his sleeve. So by the time he's licking that one, you rub on his sleeves. The man who has the food is going far. So by the time you finish licking that one and start looking for the man again, you will not see. That's what is happening to Nigeria today. If you want to complain, they'll just call you somewhere and give you something because you are hungry. And then a lot of people who are complaining are not complaining genuinely. They are complaining because the fan know they touch them, so to say. So once the fans start touching them, you see them, their singing tone will change. So until we get to a point where the kind of measure we will take when you want to employ a CEO of a bank, you want to employ a CEO of Atlantic Television, you want to employ a CEO of any private firm, that is the kind of measure we will take when we want to employ a governor, want to employ a local government chairman, want to employ a president. If we don't take that step, you will have people who come to office not owing their allegiance to the people who voted for them, but rather owing allegiance to some political structures who maneuver them, who wrote results, who carry the ballot boxes to be able to get them in. Those are the people that they want to satisfy. What has the politicians achieved in Nigeria over the past 25 years? Politicians have succeeded in achieving billionaires without enterprise. Billionaires, people who have money, have cars, have houses, but they don't have any tangible means of livelihood. They don't have anything you say, this is the work they are doing. For instance, if somebody asks now, President Tinubu now, for instance, what is his line of business? Can you point any company and say this is Tinubu's company? Even though